It seems like the Marlins have been away from home forever. Last trip, 11 games, 10 days, 6 wins. Tonight, the Fish are home, but for only 3 nights, so don't unpack the suitcase. Tonight, it's Atlanta, and the Braves are wheezing towards the wild card finish line. They're 3.5 up with 9 games left. Can they hang on? Tonight, the countdown continues. 6 games left. Marlins and Braves tonight. It's a gorgeous day in South Florida, turning into a nice night at Sun Life Stadium as the Marlins and the Braves get ready to go. This is a 3-game series after a busy football weekend, and you can still see the lines out on the field. Dan Uggla and the Braves are in the middle of a wild card race. They're in the catbird seat, but trying to hang on as the Cardinals come up from behind. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, along with Jeff Conine, Tommy Hutton. Ill tonight. You've pinch hit before in your career, right?
A few times, yes.
All right, so he'll be pinch hitting tonight as the Marlins and the Braves go at it. And you've also been on both sides of this. You've been on 2 teams that have been to the postseason, won the World Series, but you've also been on a team that collapsed, those 2007 Mets. So what's going through the Atlanta Braves' minds right now?
Well, there might be a tad bit of panic. There's still plenty of season left for something either good or really bad to happen for them. I think they had such a big lead going in, as I did with the Mets. We had a 7-game lead with 17 games to play, if you remember. I know you remember because you finally did us in the last day of the season with the Marlins. But so you get a little complacent, I think, and subconsciously you're just not there. The hunger's not there. Whereas with the Marlins, we had a 1.5-game lead when I got here, and it was a back-and-forth battle with the Philadelphia Phillies the whole time, and that keeps your energy levels high. You're always in the fight. You're always looking at that scoreboard watching. So I think the teams that are close at this point of the year have a better, more momentum going into the postseason.
And these 2 teams, the Marlins and the Braves, certainly familiar with each other. And it was Ricky Lasco that just faced the Braves and pitched beautifully against the Braves in Atlanta, except for that 7th inning and except for that 1 pitch.
Just 1 pitch. Ricky would love to have that 1 pitch back. You see the first 6 innings of this game, he was locating, keeping his curveball down. You see locks up Chipper Jones right there. And then, unfortunately, that was an 0-2 pitch to Alex Gonzalez, a guy that is known for swinging at pitches outside the strike zone. You see what Ricky's reaction is right there. He can't believe that pitch was located where it was.
And it ended up located in the outfield. Our Coventry Healthcare of Florida starting pitchers. Marlins saw Mike Minor. Minor did not get a decision, but he pitched well, and he's been a hot pitcher for him, and a godsend with the injuries to Jurgens and Hansen.
Yeah, with those 2 guys down in the Atlanta Braves starting rotation, which made them one of the most formidable rotations in baseball, he has done an outstanding job the last 3 starts. He's got a below 4 ERA and really keeping the Braves in this thing.
And, of course, you back up that rotation with that great bullpen. But it was the bullpen of the Braves that yesterday coughed up a lead. That doesn't happen very often. Allison Williams will take us through it when we return. Marlins and Braves coming up. Here, a couple of football games, a couple of big football games here this weekend. Marlins for 3, Ricky Nolasco trying to make amends as the Braves and the Marlins meet in game 1 of a 3-game series. Braves yesterday losing to the Mets in an odd way, right, Allison Williams?
Rich, thank you very much. Yes, a very uncharacteristic performance by the Braves bullpen. I mean, the reason they're leading the National League wild card race 3.5 games over St. Louis is largely because of the performance of the back end of their bullpen. You can look at the numbers. It starts with Eric O'Flaherty, usually coming in the 7th inning. Johnny Venters, one of the best setup guys in the league this year, and rookie Craig Kimbrell, 45 saves, 124 strikeouts. He seems to be the likely choice for NL Rookie of the Year. These guys have been spectacular. They've carried a heavy workload all season, but yesterday something that you don't see very often. Against the Mets in the 8th, Johnny Venters gives up a bases-loaded walk to, of all people, Ronnie Paulino, who very rarely walks, and then it was Ruben Tejada who drove in the decisive run in the game. And then in the 9th, Craig Kimbrell gives up a home run. It's just the second all year, the first to a lefty, to Lucas Duda. So the Braves would fall to the Mets, and it's something you don't see very often for Atlanta. Venters is tied for 3rd in the majors with 32 holds. Craig Kimbrell has been spectacular in the 9th inning, and the feeling has always been with the Braves that they can get to the 7th with the lead, they can get a win. So it's something you don't see very often for Atlanta, but Chipper Jones and several others all felt like they were ready to bounce back here today. We will see how they perform in game 1 between the Marlins and the Braves.
Moving forward by AT&T, by Checkers, little place, big taste, and by Coventry Healthcare of Florida, lighting the way to better health. It was a gorgeous day in South Florida. It's turned into a very pleasant evening here at Sun Life Stadium, or maybe Sun Life Roller Rink, if you'd like. This is going to be a very fast and bumpy track after 2 football games this weekend. Here come the Braves. Warren Henry brings you their starting lineup. Speedy Michael Bourne in the leadoff spot. Martin Prado has clobbered the Marlins this year. Chipper Jones has done it his entire career. Dan Uggla, 4 homers against the Fish this season. Brian McCann always has success against Ricky Nolasco. Freddie Freeman having a terrific rookie year. Of course, we showed you Alex Gonzalez's big home run in the last series. Jason Hayward, it's been a struggle his sophomore season. And Mike Minor has been a nice ray of sunshine for the Bravos, as Nolasco makes his 5th start against Atlanta this year.
That's what you have when you created the new unbalanced schedule. You play each team 18 times during the course of a season. You could run into a very tough opponent, just like Ricky has 5 times. Just think if you do that against the Braves, or a team's got to face Roy Halladay 5 times in the course of the season.
Nolasco 5-7 with a 4.76 ERA, and this is his 19th start against the Braves. So those are his career numbers against Atlanta. He's 10-11 this year. Might have been 11-10, and Ricky will be the first to tell you he made a big mistake on that 0-2 pitch. You saw his reaction to it when he put his hat into his mitt, and a first pitch from Nolasco is a fastball high to Michael Bourne.
Yeah, you saw the location where that pitch was supposed to be. Brett Hayes down and away, located down and away, and that thing came up middle of the plate.
Good changeup from Nolasco. Michael Bourne, Martin Prado, Chipper Jones. The Braves yesterday lost to the Mets. You saw Allison take you through the lowlights at the end for Atlanta as the bullpen collapsed. Lucas Duda with the big home run against Craig Kimbrell. And with St. Louis beating Philadelphia yesterday, St. Louis is 3.5 back in the wild card, facing Roy Halladay tonight, and St. Louis is up 2-0 already in the first inning against Halladay. So the torrid run by the Cardinals is continuing.
Yeah, like I said in the open, you talk about scoreboard watching at this right now. I guarantee you every Brave on that bench is looking up at that Philadelphia score and knowing what the Cardinals are doing tonight.
Yeah, so Lance Berkman homering. It was a solo shot and a 2-0 lead against Halladay. Kyle Loesch is on the mound. He's pitched well of late for St. Louis. But the focus for the Braves is to try to win series. They dropped 2 of 3 to the Mets, while the Marlins took 2 of 3 from the Nationals in D.C. Off the end of the bat for Bourne. Michael Bourne really has been a terrific addition to the Atlanta Braves, filling a couple of needs, a leadoff guy, a Gold Glover in center field, and lots and lots of speed. 53 stolen bases this year.
Yeah, great guy to have in your team. I had the opportunity to play with Michael Bourne in Philadelphia when he first came up, and just a good-natured guy, great guy to have in the clubhouse, and as you've seen with his performance on the field, a great guy to have on your baseball team.
Ricky Nolasco with a good fastball on the inside part strikes him out. All right, Niner, take us through the defense.
The defense as it lines up for the Florida Marlins: Morrison, Peterson, and Stanton in the outfield. Dominguez, Bonifacio, Omar Infante, Gabby Sanchez over at first. Ricky Nolasco and John Buck, brought to you courtesy of Warren Henry.
And it's nice to have the band back together, it seems like, with Morrison in left and Stanton in right and Bonifacio back at shortstop.
Yeah, you kind of, with injuries, you have to piecemeal together and put guys out of their natural position, so to speak, even though Logan's really not a natural left fielder. He was a first baseman and was turned into a left fielder. Those guys are most comfortable there.
Look at the numbers against the Marlins there. 386 this year for Martin Prado. And Prado fouls that one into the seats. The count is 1-1. In a perfect world, the Braves would be able to clinch the wild card, and then in the last week of the season, Freddie Gonzalez could rest Chipper Jones and rest Martin Prado. And the guys that have come so hard for the last 2 months trying to capture the flag, so to speak.
Well, in a perfect world, Freddie Gonzalez would love for that to happen, but as it's shaken up right now, they're struggling. They're struggling in numerous different departments on their team, and the team behind them is firing on all cylinders.
Infante robs his buddy Martin Prado on that one hopper. A nice play. Here comes Chipper Jones. Here comes our weather, brought to you by All Year Cooling. The Marlins are 3-2 with the butterfly this year, 85 degrees. The heat index is 93.
Next year it'll be a pretty consistent 75, I think, right?
Yeah, and I think next year, if our good friends at All Year Cooling are back, and they should be, because the building will be cooled. And you can give the great, hey, outside it's miserable, inside
it's cool.
It's cool. Very cool. That roller foul, and here's Chipper Jones. Those are Jones's season numbers. Almost identical against the Marlins. Against Ricky Nolasco, though, he's one of the Braves that in his career has hurt him .385 with 4 career homers against him.
I spoke with Chipper a little bit before the game, and I'm like, how you doing? And he's like, I'm old. So everything's hurting. I got knees, I got legs, everything's hurting at this point of the season. But you look at his numbers, still putting up some pretty solid productive numbers.
At least he's in uniform, because remember last year the Braves won the wild card, but Chipper Jones wasn't around in September. Jones had the knee injury. Martin Prado had a abdominal injury at the very end of the regular season, so the Braves went into that series against the Giants without Chipper and without Prado. Little roller, and Ricky has a nice 1-2-3 inning on a flip to Gabby Sanchez. Fish and Braves, Marlins coming to bat. Tomorrow night, of course, the big Star Wars night at the ballpark. Warren Henry brings you the lineup. Emilio Bonifacio's at shortstop. Omar Infante's at second. Mike Stanton hits third, and Lomo's in the cleanup spot with Gabby hitting fifth. John Buck will do the catching. Brian Peterson in center. Matt Dominguez gets the start against the lefty. He hits eighth, and Ricky Nolasco hits ninth. And there is the lefty, Mike Minor.
Stepped up pretty big for the Braves. Lost Jurgens and Hansen earlier this year, and they were both pitching outstanding. One of the big reasons that they had that big lead coming into September was because of their performances earlier in the year.
Bonifacio takes a fastball in. In fact, Minor faced Bonifacio in the Fish in his last start, which was on Tuesday. Emilio's numbers. That's on the outside corner. Eddie Rapp is behind home plate. One of the better umpires in the big leagues. Ed Rappuano with Ed Hickok, Paul Nauert, and Alfonso Marquez out on the bases. Minor, first round draft pick, 7th overall in 2009 out of Vanderbilt. Bonifacio, Chipper Jones. Never won a gold
Still
glove.
got the hands. Still got the hands.
But he certainly has played like it throughout his career. All right. Good transition to the Braves defense.
Into the defense we go. Martin Prado, Michael Bourne, and Jason Hayward round out the outfield. Chipper Jones, Alex Gonzalez, Dan Uggla, Freddie Freeman, a nice rookie over there at first. Mike Minor and Brian McCann round out the defense once again. Brought to you by Warren Henry. Look at Chipper. Just heart rate didn't go over 50 right there. That ball coming at him.
Infante takes down low. Infante and then Stanton. Well, playing on the infield on this surface in this series is not going to be easy, as Infante hits a pop-up in the shallow center. And Uggla at midfield, and a fair catch at the 45-yard line. But all kidding aside, a Saturday night showdown between Ohio State and Miami, the Dolphin game late afternoon yesterday, The grounds crew with an absolutely impossible task. Make this into a major league field again. And you can see the strips of new grass out there in left field where the stands were sitting. It is deep. If it's fair, it's gone. It is gone. Wow. Mike Stanton, his 33rd. That's a Ring of Honor shot.
That's a big ball right there. It's a fine union of bat and ball. Look at this swing, short, quick. Doesn't care that it's first pitch, first at bat. I'm going to get a good fastball right down the middle and make great contact with it. Look at this ball lands, folks. This is about 10 rows up in the upper deck. Impressive stuff by Mike Stanton.
Here's Morrison now. And Minor throws a strike to Lomo. So a 1-0 Marlins lead. Stanton now at 33 homers. And a breaking ball misses down and away. Only 3 players 21 and under since 1996 have had more home runs in a season than Stanton. So you see Morrison's numbers. Stanton now at 33. Miguel Cabrera in 04 had 33. Alex Rodriguez had 36 in 96. And Albert Pujols had 37 in 2001. So that's pretty elite company.
It is indeed, and it ties in with Ryan Howard for 6th in the National League. Just 3 behind Pujols and 1 behind Kemp, Fielder, and Ugla.
Brett Hayes checking his fellow high school alum just to make sure the guns are still locked and loaded.
I think he's asking, can I please have some of that? You've got a lot of extra. I would appreciate maybe a little bit to come my way. Morrison
gets rung up on a pitch on the outside part. Stanton puts one in orbit, and the Marlins are off to a 1-0 start. Goodness. By H.H. Gregg. Mike Stanton putting one about 8-10 rows into the upper deck over Paul Warfield in left field. And the Marlins have a 1-0 lead. And the security guard up there has been looking for the last 2 or 3 minutes for the ball. And
getting warmer. You're getting warmer. Aha.
Ugla breaks his bat. Morrison in, now back, and there, and makes the catch. Found it. I don't know if that's the row where it landed. It may have bounced down a row or two. But we'll get another look at it. Mike Stanton goes upper tank.
That's big power. Big power up there in the orange seats. And it'll be interesting to see how that the new ballpark where the big homers go as far as left field is concerned. I know they were talking about when the roof is open and the glass is open back there, there could be someone. We saw Mike Stanton hit a ball basically on the concourse, and it bounced over into what would be the street beyond the left field wall at the new Marlins ballpark.
Brian McCann now. McCann, then Freddie Freeman here in the second. Nolasco a 1-2-3 first, and McCann nearly tears himself in two on that swing. He has hit Nolasco well. 364 with 6 career homers. Ricky well aware of it, and I think there's a real resolve for Nolasco coming into this start, especially after the way the last start ended with the Alex Gonzalez home run.
Yeah, you've seen him tonight with the sharpness of his breaking ball. His location has been outstanding. He's really keeping him off balance. He hasn't thrown, I think, the same pitch back to back, so he's determined.
McCann, right field deep. Stanton is back. Track, Peterson there too. And Stanton makes the catch. So McCann got into it, but it stays in the yard. You can follow Fox Sports Florida on Facebook.com/Fox Sports Florida Sun Sports, where you're going to find behind the scenes videos, polls, discussion, and more. Jeff Conine, a frequenter of the Facebook world. Freddie Freeman pulls it foul. Great way to interact with others, Marlin fans. Stay up to date on Fox Sports Florida and Sun Sports events and telecast. I was on there today. I saw Niner posting having breakfast. About 9 o'clock, workout time. 10:30, Niner saying, I think I'll take a nap now. 11:30, Niner posting a photo of him waking up from the nap.
Wow, my kids must have my Facebook page info. Doing some posts for me.
Either that or it's a Jeff Conine imposter.
Oh, could be.
Here's the 0-2 to Freddie Freeman.
Boy, talk about a rookie that's having an outstanding season that unfortunately is being overshadowed by his rookie closer that is setting all kinds of records. Craig Kimbrell's having an even better season.
Freeman fouls it back. If it were Rookie of the Year for position players, Freeman would have the award. But Craig Kimbrell, and I was stunned that Tommy Hutton the other day finally broke down and said, give the award to Craig Kimbrell. Because Tommy's one of those guys that doesn't like to give an award like that to a pitcher. He likes the everyday players, but Kimbrell's having that kind of season. Bonifacio gets a big hop and throws him out, and Ricky's retired all 6 that he has faced. Immediately sent the crack staff running for the Andres Galarraga footage. And we were talking about Galarraga's shot in the break, and here it was. This is 529 feet, the longest ever in this ballpark. Look how high up it lands. Kevin Brown was even impressed. Here's the Stanton shot tonight.
Oh, what a great sound it is. Right down the line. Impressive, yes.
Down the line, he's going to lose distance compared to the Galarraga shot.
Definitely.
And it looked between 8 to 10 rows up down the line. So, if you're a betting man, 460. Gabby gets a hold of one and ropes it down the left field line into the corner, and it gets by Prado. Gabby didn't stop, so he's got himself a double. And you know Gabby Sanchez loves checkers, so why don't we just give him a checkers double of the game?
I'm in.
So is he.
Great swing right here. Gabby's actually been swinging the bat very well as of late, not getting a whole lot of luck. Hit a couple balls really well last week in New York. Here in Washington, hit a couple balls deep to the center field. He's just hitting it to the wrong people and the wrong part of the ballpark.
All right, the Marlins got a runner at second with nobody out. Let's see if they can get him over and get him in. You got John Buck now. And Buck steps out. Minor, who faced the Marlins and Buck on Tuesday in Atlanta. And on that Tuesday, Buck struck out twice in his first two at-bats against Minor, then walked against him. That was a Brad Hand-Mike Minor matchup. And Minor did not get a decision in what turned out to be a 7-1 win for the Braves. But he pitched well. He went 5 2/3, gave up just a run. As you pointed out, what a pick-me-up for the Braves staff to have Minor step in the absence of Jurgens and Hansen.
Well, that's where I think you get those successful teams that have depth in the minor leagues. When one of their stars goes down, someone like Minor can come in and bridge that gap until they're healthy again and get back in the starting rotation.
This is his 14th start in the big leagues this year. His last loss was in late May. He's gone 6-0 since with 4 no decisions. Let's scout him. What do you see? What do you know?
What is Mr. Minor featuring here? He's a pretty good fastball with sink, 91 to 92 miles an hour. Changeup, obviously, by a left-hander is going to be a out pitch for him, and he will throw any pitch at any time during the at-bat. And this scouting report brought to you by Coventry Healthcare.
There you go. Here's the 2-1, a spin move.
Interestingly enough, with a left-hander that's got fairly good velocity on his fastball, lefties are hitting higher for average than righties.
Philly's got one of those runs back. Remember, that's a Halladay versus Loesch matchup. And you know that the Cardinals in Philadelphia saw up on the scoreboard that Mike Stanton home run pop up and the 1-0 lead for the Marlins. St. Louis 3.5 behind the Braves in the wild card. Minor has fallen behind Buck at 3-1. A career high this year for walks for John Buck. 53 this year. You got Peterson on deck. Gabby with a leadoff double. 3-1 coming. Buck takes up and he walks. And so the runners now at first and second. A lot of times, especially with Jack McKeon, you would think automatically bunt. But at this part of the lineup, if Peterson does bunt the runners up, then you got the 8-hitter, then the pitcher. So Jeff Conine, if you're managing, what do you do?
I'm playing for the big inning early in the game. I want to see Brian Peterson hit. He's been hitting well against left-handed pitching. The left turn of the mound is actually giving up a higher average to lefties than righties. And I am fired as manager.
Because he popped it up. And it's the infield fly rule. That's all right. You can make the right decision as a manager and it doesn't work out.
true. Thanks for the stay.
I'll give you another game. Peterson pops it up. Now the pressure is on Dominguez. If the Marlins are going to cash in these two base runners.
Is it just me, or does Matt Dominguez look like he's 15 years old? He is young. He's only, what, 22?
He is young. Strike on the outside part, and it's 0-1. Dominguez did start in that game against Minor, and he was 1 for 2 against him. He struck out looking, and he singled up the middle.
This is the big question mark that the Marlins have with the young Dominguez. They brought him up here to see what he can do in situations at the plate. They know he's solid, very solid defensively. Made some great plays yesterday in Washington. But they're going to see how he's matured as a hitter and want to give him as many at-bats as they can going into next year to find out what he's made of.
It's amazing now that, and it's changed certainly in baseball in the last 10 to 15 years, that so much is expected of 21 and 22-year-olds when they get to the big leagues, whereas 10, 15 years ago, they didn't get to the big leagues till they were 23, 24.
Yeah, and especially the Marlins, you've seen what they've done. Brad Hand, Mike Stanton, Matt Dominguez. They've got a lot of guys on this roster, on this team in the last couple of years that have come up at 20, 21 years old.
Dominguez swings and misses, and it's 2-2. Gabby Sanchez opened with a double. John Buck walked. Brian Peterson popped out. And Mike Minor's 2-2 to Dominguez. He fouls it back.
Pretty good swing on a pretty good pitch to hit. That ball's right down the middle.
I was talking to a couple of scouts who have seen Dominguez not only in his short stay in the big leagues, but also saw him in Double-A. One thing they did say is that he does have power, and that if he can put it together at the plate, he will end up hitting for power.
Well, you got to think too. I mean, 22 years old. He's probably not really found his body yet, and he'll get bigger and stronger as time goes on.
Who's going to get it? It's Freeman who makes a nice sliding catch. McCann didn't quite see it, and Freeman never gave up on the ball, and that was a good thing for the Braves.
Very difficult play for a catcher to make, going out on a ball like that. He's got to get out there far enough to where he can actually flip around, because the ball, as it's spinning, will be spinning toward the infielder coming that way. So Freddie Freeman did an excellent job, and that should be his ball most often. You got to get that catcher out of there with that glove and the equipment and the way that ball's spinning. Tough play for them.
Here's Nolasco. Ricky takes outside. And so an inning that started on the promising side with a double by Gabby Sanchez, the walk to John Buck. Minor has induced 2 pop-ups, and his reward is he gets to face the pitcher with 2 outs. Ball and a strike. Of course, Minor, a tough act to follow out of Vanderbilt as a left-handed starter, with David Price setting the bar awful high. Ricky swings and misses. And how about the Rays, who are trying to chase down the Red Sox? Boston lost to Baltimore in the first of a doubleheader, and Baltimore has a 3-1 lead in the bottom of the first in Boston in the second game.
How about that? Baltimore sweeps that game. They've got a 1-game lead over the Rays, who are idle today. They didn't play today.
And so it's a game and a half now. Two. So both wild card races are tightening up.
You know, we did a piece on this earlier.
Yep. Stone Cold
last
locks,
week. Yeah, we said locks. We called all these locks. There was really no races going on, and boy, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, not so fast.
Again, the Rays are not playing tonight. Boston's playing the second game of the doubleheader and down 3-1 in the first. Ricky's worked a full count here. That means the runners will be on the move. Minor with a 3-2 coming. And he got him. So the Marlins leave a couple on. A Mike Stanton home run, the only run of the ball game. Tomorrow, Marlins and Braves, 7:10. Come dressed as your favorite Star Wars character. Use the Force for good. Chewie will be here as the Marlins and Braves will raise money for Stand Up to Cancer. Exclusive Star Wars night prices and packages. Go to marlins.com/Star Wars. Here tonight, the Marlins in the Cleveland Clinic third inning have a 1-0 lead. Ricky Nolasco has been sharp. He gets the bottom third of the order. Alex Gonzalez, Jason Hayward, and Mike Minor. A Mike Stanton home run. About 8 rows up into the upper deck. The only run of the ball game, and Gonzalez takes outside. Alex Gonzalez just clobbered the Marlins in Atlanta. He was 8 for 11, a homer and 7 RBIs. That from a guy who's hitting .238 this year.
Gonzo had a great series against the Marlins here as well.
He had a home run yesterday. He was robbed of a home run in the Mets series as well by Jason Bay. So he's swinging it right now. But not this guy. Jason Hayward has kind of been in a funk most of the year.
Yeah, just has not found that swing that was pretty sweet last year. In his rookie year, he made quite an impact, and injuries have slowed him down a little bit.
Infante racing to get to that one. That's a nice play because he caught it in stride and released it on that same stride.
He's good at that. Some of the best hands you're going to see in the National League or both leagues, as far as that's concerned, with Omar. And considerations should be made for Gold Glove for him at second base.
Now, he picked up an error the other day. In terms of fielding percentage, I believe he's still second in the National League. I think probably the biggest hurdle in terms of winning the Gold Glove, Orlando Hudson was first, is Hudson has a Gold Glove, he has a reputation, and he's played second base his entire career. Infante, so versatile, has been that super utility guy forever. This is one of the first times in a long time he's just been at second base, and that's it.
And he's done a fantastic job. And, you know, don't forget about Brandon Phillips in Cincinnati as well. He came in with the Reds, and it was kind of a second baseman showdown defensively. And Brandon Phillips made some outstanding plays.
Velasco misses outside to Mike Minor. Fonte gets another and flips it on over to first. And Ricky has retired all 9 that he's faced. That's a 7-pitch inning. Just moments here in this big, gigantic football stadium. Let's go back. Livan Hernandez against the Atlanta Braves. National League Championship Series.
Off speed, got him looking. Strike 3 called. Hernandez, 15 strikeouts. The Marlins are in the win column. They have taken Game 5.
Long before Fox Tracks was invented.
Game of a lifetime.
A complete game 3 hitter. Although, you know, the other side of that argument is Eric Gregg's strike zone was enormous, but the starting pitcher for the Braves that night was Greg Maddux, who, like Livan, is a guy that will exploit a big strike zone.
And did he ever exploit that strike zone?
So you were there. And I obviously wasn't there and don't recall much about that game except those highlights. What was the strike zone for Maddux like, and what was the strike zone for Livan like? Were they the same?
Yes, they were the same. And when you talked to Greg Maddux, I remember the press conference. He had nothing to say about the strike zone that night because he knew that his was as generous as Livan's, and you're not going to bite the hand that feeds you. So he knew Eric Gregg would be in the league for umpiring games. He wasn't going to badmouth him because of his strike zone, and he really didn't have much to say about it.
Bonifacio, top of the order, and a swing and a miss as the Marlins hit here in the 3rd. Fish had a great opportunity to get by him in the 2nd with runners first and second and nobody out. Minor pitched out of that. Stanton's homer stands up as the only run and one of 2 hits for the Fish. The 1-2, but I would expect as you guys got into that run, I mean, Livan didn't pitch the whole season in '97 with you guys, did he?
No, he was more of a Dontrell type call-up. You know, what a story he was coming over from Cuba, and he joined us not quite mid-season, a little bit before, and ended up having 10 wins that season. Tremendous story, and I mean, talk about facing pressure, just getting off, coming over from Cuba and pitching against the Braves against 55,000 people here in the stadium and dominating.
And he did not start in his first appearance in the postseason, right? He came in relief, and then Jim Leland put him into the rotation.
Right. we had our three big horses, obviously, were Kevin Brown, Al Leiter, and Alex Fernandez, and you really don't need a fourth starter on most series, but Alex ended up getting hurt, ended up hurting his shoulder, and Levon stepped into that spot and did an outstanding job and become the MVP of the World Series. Levon had 15 Ks. Maddox had 9 that game. Really not a big strikeout pitcher, but 9 strikeouts he had.
Minor gets a strikeout there on a high fastball. All right.
Yeah, there you see the 32, and that was for our fallen teammate Alex Fernandez, who had gotten hurt with a shoulder injury. So we knew it was a big blow to our pitching staff, but Levon really stepped up and filled that hole nicely.
Here's the rematch now. Minor against Stanton. And Minor catches the outside corner with a fastball. Stanton, the only other pitch he saw tonight, he hit in the upper deck. That one shuffles Stanton's feet. It's 1-1. Stanton drives that one left center field. That one's deep. That one's gone. A blue cedar to the deepest, darkest part of the ballpark.
Wow. That might be further than the other one he hit.
Number 34. 2-0.
That, my friends, is a long ways out there.
Here's Morrison. Well, Logan Morrison will tell you that you never want to follow Mike Stanton in batting practice. And twice he's come to the plate after Mike Stanton has hit tape measure homers in the ball game.
That is way back there in that part of the ballpark. Just to get over that sign is a bomb, let alone a blue cedar.
Morrison, a little trickler out towards Ugla. He gathers it in and just gets Morrison. Mike Stanton 2, Braves nothing. Add them up, you may have about 1,000 feet for the home run. Fish. Let's check in with Allison Williams. A-Dub?
Hey, Rich. How you doing? I'm here with Dr. G-Loaf, an orthopedic surgeon from the Cleveland Clinic, out enjoying a Marlins game here. You a big baseball fan?
Huge baseball fan. Love the Marlins.
And you've been a Marlins fan since when?
Since 2006, when I moved here.
Down from New York. And being an orthopedic surgeon, I know you've dealt with some baseball players in the past. What's the most common baseball injury you see?
We see a lot of overhead injuries, rotator cuff injuries, as well as labral tears.
And what does that mean for somebody who doesn't really understand a whole lot about medicine and the human anatomy?
Labral tears usually a result of an instability event. So, a lot of the overhead athletes, they injure the labrum as well as the rotator cuff.
Okay. And you luckily were able to throw the first pitch, and you didn't injure anything. No rotator cuff tears, anything like that. How was it throwing out the first pitch?
It was very nervous. I was really nervous, but it was a lot more difficult than it looks.
Yeah?
Yes.
How so?
Well, it's pretty far. 70 feet is pretty far from where he's staying. Plus, I stood above ahead of the mountain, but still, it was difficult to get right over the plate accurately.
Had you practiced at all?
I did not. No. I went in very cold.
No warm up, no stretching, nothing like that.
No, I should have.
All right, and you get to keep the ball, right?
Yes, I did. That's the best part about it. I'll give it to my son.
There you go. I'm sure he'll appreciate it here with your beautiful family. We'll let you enjoy the rest of the game.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Rich?
Thanks, Allison. 7 ground ball outs now. That last one may be the trickiest one. A nice play by Matt Dominguez on an uneven playing surface.
That's the beauty about Matt Dominguez on defense. He made that play look pretty simple, and that is a really what we call an in-between hop, where it's not really a short hop and it's not that nice long hop. You get kind of some tricky bounces, and he made it look really easy.
He may have to make another tough one. Bonifacio's coming over there with him. Dominguez calls for it and makes the catch. So Matt Dominguez and Ricky Nolasco keeps rolling. There's the short hop pick. Cruise to your local Chevrolet dealer. And by El Dorado. Shop online. Visit ElDoradoFurniture.com. Downtown Miami on a clear night. And up at the Sun Life Stadium, Mike Stanton has hit 2 long home runs. And the Marlins have a 2-0 lead against Mike Minor. Ricky Nolasco has been fantastic. Gabby Sanchez doubled his first time up. And he takes a strike. My partner Tommy Hutton under the weather tonight. And partner, if you're out there listening, get better soon. Jeff Conine pinch hitting tonight.
I got your back, Tommy. Got your back.
Here's the 0-1. Minor misses away. Stanton hit a fastball the first home run, a changeup the second home run.
And the changeup, which you would think, oh, the fastball faster coming in might go farther, but I think the changeup went farther than the fastball.
Now, we don't have the immediate distances. HitTrackerOnline.com generally posts those. Sometimes it's a day later. Sometimes you can get it later in a ball game. They do not give home run distances in this stadium. But I think you're right. I think the ball to left center, when it comes to distance-wise, will be longer The wow factor, though, for the one in the upper deck about 8 rows up above the Paul Warfield sign, there were more oohs and ahs on that one.
Yeah, that's always impressive when the upper deck is reached in any stadium, not only this one, but any stadium. When it goes up that high.
Here's the 2-2. Foul back to the screen. Now, the storyline here, again, is that the Atlanta Braves dropped 2 of 3 to the Mets, and their wild card lead with 9 games left, and that includes this one, is down to 3.5 over the sizzling St. Louis Cardinals. Remember, the Cardinals swept the Braves last weekend, and the Cardinals are in Philadelphia tonight facing Roy Halladay. How are they doing? Quite well. They have a 3-1 lead in the 4th against Halladay and the Phillies. And so this game becomes even more important for the Braves. There's the wild card standings. And don't forget about the Giants, who are the hottest team in baseball right now. Pablo Sandoval, player of the week, and the Giants have won 8 in a row. And there's your score. Lance Berkman has knocked in a couple, including a home run in that ball game. Gabby shoots that one down the first baseline, foul and out of play. For Gabby, the double in the second inning gives him 32 on the season. That is tops on the fish. Mike Stanton with 27. Logan Morrison 24. Emilio Bonifacio and Omar Infante 23 apiece.
Boston coming back to take the lead against Baltimore in that second game. There's another interesting race going on.
Gonzalez backs up on it, fires him out. Let's do some trivia here. We'll give you that Boston score on the flip side as the phone enters. AT&T trivia question. Braves franchise, only player to win 2 batting titles. Rico Carty?
Oh, you're going way back. Was that a buzz I just heard?
Yeah, that's
crack staff?
Yeah. That's the one of the enhancements, the game enhancements that we've added. High tech. Here's John Buck. Throw out a guess. See what you get.
Oof. 2-time batting champion for the Braves franchise, which means it could be Milwaukee. I'm going to say, I don't know if Hank ever won a batting title, did he?
Oh, nice.
Wow, another enhancement.
And a nice golf clap. Here's the 0-1. Buck takes down low. Henry Aaron. Buck walked back in the second. Marlins had a great opportunity in the second. Runners first and second and nobody out. But Mike Minor pitched out of it. Got a couple of pop-ups and a strikeout.
Boy, speaking of Hank Aaron, I mean, what a remarkable career. You know that if you take away his 755 home runs, he still has over 3,000 hits.
Buck gets rung up. We have to officially answer this, even though you did get the bell and the golf clap. Still, AT&T, we are contractually obligated to flip the phone. If the phone doesn't flip, we don't get paid. So there you go. 328 and 355. Now Peterson. It was a big at bat for Peterson in the second. He went after the first pitch with runners first and second and popped it up on the infield.
That's been one nice thing to see with Ryan Peterson so far this year. He's been very patient at the plate. You don't see him swinging at first pitches very often. And I think he's gotten to deep into counts, and even on off lefties, he's taken some good pitches and shown that he can hit lefties very well. He's hitting above his his batting average against lefties is above his right-hand batting average.
I think at the very least, Peterson has shown in his time in the big leagues this year that he can be a fourth outfielder and contend for a starting spot.
Absolutely.
And I think the key for Brian has been, at first, he was able to pinch hit with success. And for young hitters, that's not easy.
That's a very difficult thing to do.
And that bought him playing time. And from there, the playing time has increased. Defensively, he's a very good center fielder. A plus arm, good speed. And he's sitting on a 3-1 pitch right now. A swing and a miss. Henry Aaron, just an incredible career. Also won 3 Gold Gloves. That was early in his career, 58 through 60. Peterson drives it to left. Prado back, right in front of Charlie Huff. He makes the catch. Mike Minor goes 1-2-3 in the fourth. 2-0 Fish. Who has retired everyone he has faced. Velasco, of course, coming off his last start against the Braves, where that one pitch against Alex Gonzalez got him in trouble, has given the Marlins the edge. You two can keep your edge with Just for Men, mustache, and beer. Mix in 2 long Mike Stanton home runs, and that's how the Marlins have a 2-0 lead going here into the top of the 5th inning, as Nolasco stares down Dan Uggla, who flied to left his first time up. And Ricky pours across a strike. It's 0-1, our Subway 5th inning. Uggla, just a terrific run for the Braves since early July. Dominguez, that's a fair ball, had the stutter step, and that's the first hit for the Braves. A tough play down the line. Uggla got out of the box quickly. He was out on his front foot with the swing. And he's aboard.
Yeah, I doubt there would have been an out made on this play anyway. He was going the other way into foul territory. Dan runs very well. So, good effort, but even with the bobble, I don't think he would have gotten him.
So an infield hit for Uggla. Uggla, since July 4th, has 22 home runs. First in the big leagues. And now McCann. And he takes a change up for a strike. Now, Nider, this is one of the guys that is hurt in Nolasco. And McCann hit a deep fly ball to right center field his first time up.
Yeah, he's hurt the Marlins in general. He's always hit well against the Marlins at both parks, especially here in Florida. Perennial all-star McCann, what a great catcher, a great offensive catcher, defensively been outstanding. You see there the numbers, 356, 6 homers career against Velasco.
Been an all-star every year in the big leagues. Drives it to center. Peterson back. Boy, McCann's hit about 800 feet worth of out in this ball game. 2 long fly ball outs. Ricky keeps him in the yard, has the first out.
That's Mike Stanton material out there.
41 game plans for the new Marlins ballpark now on sale. The 41 game plan includes a minimum of 1 game from every home series in 2012, plus a game against the Red Sox, an exhibition game against the Yankees, and an option to add an opening day and on-site garage parking. 1-877-411-2012 or go to marlins.com/ballpark. Secure your 41 game plan today. Now, immediately following this ball game, Fox Sports Florida will premiere the last installment of Inside the Marlins, Frankfort's Piece de Resistance.
Wow. I was just there last week, the new ballpark. It's coming together remarkably well. Looks great. I can't wait to go to work there every day.
0-1 pitch to Freddie Freeman.
I only wish I was wearing a uniform when I was working there every day.
Inside the Marlins, the new ballpark will be the episode tonight, and it premieres right after our telecast. Well, you could wear our uniform, you know, Tommy Bahama shirt or a nice cool golf shirt. I know it's not the same.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
I know what you mean.
Here's the 0-2. Got him. Velasco with a sharp break. Freeman looking. And for Ricky, his second strikeout.
Look at the location of this slider right here. Inside corner, freezes Freeman right where he wanted it. He's been outstanding with his location tonight. All pitches are working well. Curveball's got really nice bite to it. Very economical, only 45 pitches thrown so far here in the 5th inning.
And this is almost the same Ricky that was pitching against the Braves, and he had the same type of location and command in Atlanta. And it was against this guy. If he had thrown that pitch right there, the game would have stayed 1-1. But Ricky will be the first to tell you, just flat out made a mistake. And it's amazing how a pitcher can throw 100, 110 pitches in a game, and you throw one of them in the wrong spot and it can ruin your whole day.
It's kind of like that. Well, here you see the pitch. It was a hanging breaking ball. 0-2 count. 0-2 count. It's like the cardinal sin in baseball, especially as a pitcher, is to give up a hit, let alone a home run with an 0-2 count.
And Ricky knew it from his reaction. He put his head in his glove. He's got an 0-2 count. Look how far Buck is set up. And there's a nasty slider. Velasco gives up his first hit, an infield hit to Ugla, but is holding on to a 2-0 lead and looks outstanding tonight here in South Florida. Tommy Hutton, who is under the weather. You couldn't have scripted it any better for the Marlins so far tonight.
So far tonight, we saw Ricky Nolasco do the exact same thing last start. Let's see if he can make it happen a little bit longer this time.
And the balls that Mike Stanton have hit, the one in the upper deck that went, what, about 8-10 rows up down the line, Dominguez cracks one down the line himself, bangs off the wall, Matt around first, on his way to second. This may be close. He is safe. Ugla dove, a nice play by Prado. And Dominguez ends up with a double.
Great swing right here. You see him take kind of a wide turn, almost lost his footing, and just gets in there. Right here, kind of almost loses his footing right there.
And that sets up now Nolasco trying to bunt him to third. This is a little tricky. You've got a rookie out at second who doesn't have the best of foot speed in Dominguez. Freeman obviously knows Nolasco is going to bunt, so he's crashing from first. Chipper holding his ground at third. Ricky sets it down. McCann has to go to first, and Nolasco really helps himself out and sets Bonifacio up. One out, Dominguez at third base. Marlins have a 2-0 lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Marlins. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins.
Good job by Ricky Nolasco there, getting it down. You want the third baseman to field that ball, so he vacates his position at third, and the guy coming from second can basically walk to third base. But like you said, with the pitcher crashing, if you get that ball too far toward the middle of the field, he can easily get it out there at third.
Infield's in, and McCann just saved a run by smothering that ball in the dirt. Braves are trying to choke off the run at the plate. With Bonifacio up in a 2-0 game. Dominguez is the runner at third. You know, on this infield, you almost don't have to play right up on the grass. It is so fast right now. Bonifacio fouls it back.
Traditionally, I mean, even when I first started playing here, it's always been a very fast surface. They keep it trimmed very low. The ball snakes a lot in the outfield, but if it's always played like the old AstroTurf used to play, you know, the new turf, the new field turf is very much like grass, a longer grass, so the ball rolls more slowly. If you get a ball in the gap here, it's through for an extra base hit for sure.
Here's the 1-1. Popped in a shallow right. Hayward comes on. He's got a great arm. Dominguez down the line. And the Marlins need Omar Infante to knock in the run. This is the second time the Fish have had an inning started, and they're in danger of not getting this run across. You got to give some credit, certainly, to Mike Minor, who in the second with runners first and second and nobody out got 2 pop-outs from Peterson and Dominguez, and here he gets a shallow pop from Bonifacio. Infante popped to second and struck out. He pops this one up. Freeman. It's as far as he can go. Not many of the Marlins, Jeff, have had good swings against Mike. I mean, obviously Mike Stanton has.
I was going to say, but one. There's one guy that's had a couple pretty good swings.
Gabby Sanchez, a line drive double. And Matt Dominguez, a double. Stanton is on deck, so there's a pretty good chance Infante's going to get something great to hit in this at-bat. And he pops it up. Freeman makes the catch, and the Marlins waste another opportunity. So, deep breath. Ricky Nolasco goes back out there and tries to protect a 2-0 lead. that he feels better soon. But I got a good pinch hitter here.
Absolutely. He definitely can hit. No question about that. And I was a witness of that.
Ricky Nolasco definitely can pitch, and he's doing it tonight, isn't he, guys?
Well, I think that's what Jack McKeon said, the other day, is that Ricky Nolasco should be a guy that could win 15 or 16, 18 games if he could concentrate more on the mound. At times, sometimes he loses his concentration, and I think that's what hurts him the most.
Especially Ricky being one of those pitchers that he just hates giving up base on balls, and he's always throwing strikes, so that's key to be able to get to that level.
And Nolasco always has been a strike thrower. Ricky with 3 strikeouts in this one. He hasn't walked anybody. And look at the pitch count.
Absolutely. It's great. I think that when you think about the Atlanta Braves, the Smalls and the Glavins and all those guys, what they were trying to tell him is the fact that they knew who the guy that could beat you. And sometimes they wouldn't give those guys anything at all to hit in close games like we're, watching tonight.
And I think those guys were content with maybe giving up a walk here or there instead of trying to force a pitch like he did against Alex Gonzalez the other day. He tried to force that perfect breaking ball 0-2, ended up making a mistake with it.
Well, like every good chess player, they're thinking many moves ahead. And from what I remember, Greg Maddux, he would do that. He would think ahead. Okay, who's coming up next inning? Do I want to face him in that situation? And maybe not. And then he'd give a walk intentionally, without really declaring an intentional walk, but giving the guy the base so that he wouldn't have to face certain situations.
Hayward to right.
Wow.
That's deep, and that's gone. And so are you guys.
See you later, guys.
All right, guys.
See you. Have a good show.
All right. Yeah.
And just like that, the lead is cut in half, and the Braves have their first run. And Jason Hayward has his 14th homer of the season.
A lot of comparisons have been made between Mike Stanton and Jason Hayward. Both picked in the same year and stature-wise about the same height. You look at a changeup that got up, and he was able to extend those big arms, and that ball got out of here in a hurry as well.
So Minor is up now, and he takes a strike. So every run has been a solo homer. 2 by Stanton, 1 by Hayward. Meanwhile, up in Philadelphia, 3-1 St. Louis on top of the Phillies. That's outside corner. Let's look at the location.
You look at the location, and Buck wants it down and away. This pitch kind of sails up and away. Look at the wingspan on Jason Hayward. That ball's in the outside corner, and he pulls it for a home run to right field.
So location-wise, in terms of outside part, not bad. Just elevated a little too much.
Elevated. When you were looking at a guy that's 6'5", that elevated pitch becomes belt high, and he teed off on it.
Just the second hit Nolasco's given up, and he strikes out Minor. Closing day on Wednesday, September 28th. It's a 4:10 start. The Marlins play their final game as the Florida Marlins. After the game, the Marlins will unveil the Marlins all-time team. Past greats: Jeff Conine, Benito Santiago, Gary Sheffield, Mike Lowe. All will be in attendance. Don't miss closing day. 1-877-MARLINS or go to marlins.com. Who will tear down the final number?
I would think maybe Mr. Loria might have a dibs on that one. Jeffrey Loria, the team owner. Just a guess. I don't have any inside information.
You don't think Charlie Huff? That was my thought.
Could be.
Charlie Huff threw the first pitch in the ballpark. Maybe he tears the number down.
Yeah, maybe the old the battery mate. Him and Benito each grab a corner and tear that number down. That'd be kind of cool.
Here's the 1-2 to Michael Bourne. Fly ball in the gap. Peterson glides over. Look out for Lomo. Sounds like a sitcom, doesn't it? Peterson makes the catch. It's usually Lomo versus the wall. You just don't want it to be Lomo versus the center field.
No, we don't want bodies involved. That'd be no good.
As Nolasco bounces back and gets it out from Bourne, and here's Prado, who is 0 for 2. So not only are the Cardinals winning, but just to update you on the second game of that Baltimore-Boston doubleheader, it's now 6-5 Boston. Baltimore won the first game, cutting Boston's lead in the wild card to a game and a half. In the second game, Baltimore came out of the chute and had a 3-0 lead. Boston erased that and was up 6-3, and now Baltimore has made it 6-5.
And they're still only at the top of the third.
And they're still on the top of the third. And if Baltimore wins that game, the Rays are a game back.
We go back to that tape of that show we did recently about the locks that we thought were going on in wild card races and divisional races throughout the league.
See, if I hear you, Jeff Conine, doing one of those cheesy beat the spread, stone cold lock this Sunday ads on the radio, call this 1-800 number, I know not to call it now. Because a week ago, those were stone cold locks. Here's the 2-2.
And I mean, it's exciting for baseball. It's great for baseball. I'd love to see this kind of race come down to the very end where you've got a number of teams in it. That's the beauty of the wild card, is to have teams have a shot that they wouldn't normally have in divisional play.
Remember, the Braves won the wild card last year. Bobby Cox's last year. And Freddie Gonzalez, in his first season, has the Braves at 87 and 66. Getting across the finish line is not the easiest thing to do. And Niner, you've been on both sides of it. You've been on teams that have got to the finish line, and you've been on a team that did a major faceplant before it got there. The Mets in 07.
Boy, that was a major faceplant. I got traded over, and I was thinking, wow, playoffs in New York. Is it going to get any better than this? And what a way to end your career. And I was so excited for that. Ended up losing 7 in a row to the then second-place Phillies.
Fly ball left field. That's well hit. Morrison back at the wall. Leaps and he can't get it. Got a piece of it, and Prado's going to end up with a double. Braves have the tying run in scoring position, and they've got Chipper Jones coming up.
Martin Prado continues to haunt the Marlins. Another hanging breaking ball. He's made 2 mistakes tonight, and the Braves are just excellent at making him pay at those mistakes. See Lomo getting back here. Looked like it was catchable ball. He just didn't get his glove quite over far enough. Sometimes when you get back to the wall like that, you've got an issue with jumping, and you go into the wall, and it doesn't allow you to get up as high as you need to get up.
Somebody above the Braves dugout, Ed Rappuano came over. I don't know if there's a fan that they're going to eject, but Chipper Jones pointed something out to Ed Rappuano, and he came over and talked to the security, and right now they're conferring in the stands. Prado's at second. Ricky against Chipper. Pops away from Buck. Gets to the screen. Prado's at third. Pass ball you would expect.
Indeed.
And of course, they scored a wild pitch. Here's the 1-0. Well, this is, you know, you talked about being in a spot where you, going back to Smoltz and Glavin and the like, and Maddox, not letting one guy beat you. This is a guy that has traditionally beaten the Marlins and the last one. The guy on deck is no picnic either, and that's Ugla.
Yeah, Chipper Jones, we've been on the back end of a lot of losses because of this guy. He's really, over the years, if you're looking at a hitter that you don't want in the Braves lineup to come up with the game on the line, it's been Chipper Jones. He's been a clutch performer his whole career.
Look at the number of games. 233 games, the 40 homers, 161 RBIs. Prado, the tying run, is 90 feet away with 2 outs in the 6th. Fastball, sawed him off. Dominguez, good range, good play. Jason Hayward with a solo homer, and Velasco strands the tying run at third. You don't want to miss the third at bat for Mike Stanton. He's already hit 2 tape measure shots tonight. Mike Stanton to the plate, his third at bat, the first 2. He is absolutely walloped. Now the Marlins have a 2-1 lead as a result of it. Mike Minor into his 6th inning of work. And he tries to shuffle Stanton's feet. Fastball he hit the first time up into the upper deck, about 8 to 10 rows up down the line. And you saw that second one, a blue cedar into deep left center. See what he gets, 2-0. Minor being very careful with him.
A little fear in those pitches right there, I think.
Jam Lexus presents leaders of the game. Jam Lexus, price made us #1. Click jamlexus.com to find out how. And Minor doesn't even mess with Stan. He walks him on 4 pitches. Can you blame him?
Turner might be shell shocked right now after those first 2 at bats. Some serious noise coming off that bat. He didn't really want to put anything too juicy in the strike zone.
Those two, Freddie Freeman and Mike Stanton, know each other from Southern California. Played against each other in the area code games. And here's Morrison now. Morrison has had to follow Stanton's act twice. He struck out and bounced out. And Minor dots the outside corner. It's 0-1. Peter Moylan, the Australian. Oh, 1. Gets the corner again. We check in with Allison Williams.
Guys, Logan Morrison back in the lineup after getting the day off yesterday following the collision with the wall in Washington. This has been a common theme for Lomo this year. Really all kind of started in Houston. Remember that first road trip of the year, and he was colliding with the wall several times out there, and he's gotten to know the wall pretty well here at Sun Life Stadium. He had a collision just in the last inning.
Morrison right field. That ball's deep. Get out of here! Take that, wall! Salute! 21st of the season.
Didn't want to be upstaged by the man in front of him. Got a little ways to go, but that ball was crushed as well. What a great swing right here. Pulls his hands in, elevate. Well up into that orange section out in right center field. That's a big ball.
Here's Gabby Sanchez. So Lomo and Mike Stanton are the two corner outfielders. Have provided the 4 runs. Gabby to center field. Horn goes back. And I know Allison was in mid-story, and I apologize for interrupting Allison.
You will never have to apologize for interrupting for a home run call. We like to see that as Lomo definitely beats the wall there, but usually this season the wall has won against Lomo, and our crack staff decided to start scoring these. Lomo gets points for a catch, style points, but if he falls, points go to the wall. So far this season, from what we've counted, the wall is up 13-12, and I think it just got another point earlier today. But he said the most painful one was in Pittsburgh, and he's had quite a few of them. But he'll tell you still he fears no wall, guys.
Well, this was tonight. This was the one that put the wall over the top, 13-12, apparently. And the crack staff now says it's 14-12 wall versus Lomo. 1-0 to John Buck. Swing and a miss. To me, there were 2 games that stood out. There was a game in Chicago where twice he went hard into the wall, once pulling out a big chunk of ivy.
That is not a fun wall to collide with. I'll go with him on that one, that's for sure.
Here's the 1-1 to Buck. And then in Houston, the Crawford boxes at left. Now, the Crawford boxes are cute and nice and quaint, but the out-of-town scoreboard is not padded below it, and Morrison went in there hard twice. The first time, it took a chunk out of his forearm, and he had to get bandaged up, taped up, stitched up. About 2 innings later, he went headlong into almost the same spot, and he broke out a panel of the wall. So Lomo took a hit and the wall took a hit.
I've always said that wall is probably the most dangerous in the big leagues because it's made out of metal. That's a metal wall, folks. And there are no pads on that. So everywhere you've got a corner where they put the out-of-town scores up, it's like a sharp edge, and that ball could take a ricochet and go either direction. Your arm goes in there, it could tear skin, break a bone. There's going to be, I predict, a serious injury from that wall at some point.
And guys, I remember talking to Lomo after that series, and he said it was pretty tough out there in Houston. And actually, he has missed 6 games this year because of wall-related injuries.
Well, you can't put a bubble around him, and he's an aggressive player. He plays his heart out. He's a natural first baseman, still learning how to play left field. And it's not like you can tell him to take it easy, but it doesn't seem to be in his DNA.
No, it does not. And you know what?
That's a good
I'll take the over-aggressiveness. I like the way he goes after the ball. He's not afraid of the wall, and most of them are padded, so hopefully he doesn't. What hurts him, what has hurt him, is the Pittsburgh and we were just in Washington. The pad ends, and there's about a 6 to 8 inch strip of concrete at the bottom of these walls. So he slides into it with his knee, and that's the only exposed part of those walls in those 2 cities.
Why in the world does the padding end? Why can't the padding go all the way down?
That is an excellent question. I think it might be for ball's getting lodged underneath there if you can't make it go all the way to the dirt. Because the dirt, they have to be able to service that at some point. And, if they can't get to it, that's my only explanation. Because as an outfielder, I'd want that pad going all the way down to the bottom.
You'd want him on that wall.
You need him on that wall.
The 3-1 to Peterson. Brian pulls that one foul. Well, second time the Marlins have seen Mike Minor in a week. He gave up just a run in 5 2/3 in a 7-1 win against Brad Hand on Tuesday. In this one, Mike Stanton clobbered 2 long homers against him. He pitched around Stanton here in the 6th, and Morrison knocked one out. Think about the young players that we've seen hit home runs in this ball game tonight. Another young one is on deck. We've seen Jason Hayward hit one for the Braves. Stanton's hit 2. Stanton is still 21. And, of course, Morrison, a 2-run shot. 3-2. Peterson ropes it into right center field. That's in the gap. Peterson's got good speed. He's going to test the arm of Hayward, and he cruises in there with a double. Brian Peterson, a dozen doubles, a 1-for-3 night. And Freddie Gonzalez, I think, has seen enough from his 23-year-old lefty. And he is going to the bullpen. Peter Moylan is ready. He'll bring in Moylan to face the rookie Matt Dominguez. Bottom 6, 4-1 fish. Here's a Marooney called to the pen.
When you need a car, truck or van.
Submariner Peter Moylan against the rookie Matt Dominguez. Brian Peterson in scoring position, and 2 outs, 2 runs across on a mammoth Logan Morrison home run on a night where the Marlins have hit 3 tape measure shots.
I'm pretty much going to guess that the young Matt Dominguez has never really faced a pitcher like Peter Moylan before. I mean, you got submariners, and usually submariners are high 80s, mid 80s, 85 mile-an-hour pitchers, but Moylan, I don't know if his velocity is still where it used to be. It used to be 94, 95 from down there.
Well, down there on that one, it was 90. You see, this is just his 13th appearance. He's got a ways to catch up with O'Flaherty, Venters, and Kimbrel. But when he was healthy, Moylan was usually one of the most used guys in the big leagues. A guy that Bobby Cox would use a lot. A bulging disc. He had surgery in early May. Dominguez hits a hard smash at the shortstop. Gonzo stays down on it and throws him out. So good contact. You want good contact? How about liftoff? 4-1 Fish in the 7th. Of course, after the ball game, the premiere, the final episode in the long saga of Inside the Marlins, the award-winning Inside the New Ballpark. That's tonight. Frank Fort, who has actually rented a small apartment next to the new ballpark site and has been down there for the last 2.5 years, wearing his hard hat and his boots and his orange vest. Frank will give you the latest video from inside and outside of the park. Over 80% complete. Jeff Conine was just there last week. Dan Ugla is at the plate right now. He takes outside. What did you see last week at the new ballpark, my friend?
Well, I didn't see Frank Fort, and apparently you said he's camping out there. And
he was in the editing room finishing the show.
Okay. But saw just about everything. I took my boys down there. We went in the clubhouses. We toured the suite level. We were on the field in the dugout. And it's looking fairly spectacular. Did the nice, one of the unique features of this ballpark is on the concourse, main concourse level, you can do a lap around the entire field and never lose sight of the playing surface, which is fairly unique. I haven't been to a lot of ballparks in that sense as a fan, but a really cool feature.
Obviously, you can't do it in this stadium. Velasco with a count 3-1. That last pitch right on the border. Ed Rapuano's had a good strike zone and a consistent one throughout the night. Ugla drives one right center field. That's deep. Peterson looks up. That ball's gone. For the 5th time this year against the Marlins, Dan Ugla homers. A career high 35 now.
Well, the Braves signed Dan Ugla in the offseason to provide some power from the right-handed bat position, and it just so happened it was at second base, and if that's what you signed him for, he's delivered. Mistake again on the inside part of the plate. John Buck wanted that ball out in the outside corner. It drifts over the middle of the plate, and Dan Ugla crushes it.
Change up from Velasco and a swing and a miss. So 35 homers for Ugla. It's the second one that he's hit against Velasco. McCann, nice play by Gabby, who spears a one-hopper and steps on the bag. Dan Ugla against his buddies. Now twice against Ricky Nolasco. He's got Clay Hensley, Anibal Sanchez, and Brian Sanchez. So 4 coming into the ball game, 5 now on the season. Freddie Freeman now, he's 0 for 2. We started the night telling you about the Braves. Bonifacio. Their wild card lead down to 3.5 games with 9 left to play. And St. Louis continues to beat Roy Halladay and the Phillies 4-1. If these two scores hold, the Braves' wild card lead will have melted down to 2.5 games. They've lost 5 games in the wild card standings in the last 15 days. And here is Gonzalez. Gonzo smokes it by the diving Dominguez. You see all the bad hops that ball took on the way out to left field. Our Degree player profile, brought to you by New Degree Men's Everest, responds to increases in adrenaline so you can keep your cool longer. His career numbers in this stadium: 4th in games played, 6th in total hits, 9th in total home runs. Now Jason Hayward homered his last time up. Alaska with a fastball for a strike. It was a changeup that Hayward put in the seats in right field.
And with Alex Gonzalez, one of the biggest mysteries, I think, has no Gold Gloves to his name. And the seasons I played with him in 03 and 04, 05 is the best shortstop that I'd seen played at that time. I mean, he just was remarkable, and unfortunately didn't get recognized with a Gold Glove.
Mike Dunn and Ryan Webb. Gonzo an all-star, but no Gold Glove. Oh, 2, a blooper down the line and out of reach from Dominguez.
It's almost the same pitch he hit out. He was probably expecting something else. It was an elevated changeup, and he actually jammed himself on it.
Hayward last year, 2nd in the Rookie of the Year voting. Buster Posey, of course, was the Rookie of the Year. A .393 on base percentage. Matt Diaz pulls in on deck. Stays away with a fastball.
Matt Diaz is another Marlin killer. I think leads active.
Yep, he is the captain of the all Marlin killer team. They will not be honored on closing day.
.393 average career against the Marlins. Matt Diaz.
1-2 fastball in on the hands. Diaz and his Florida State Seminoles coming up just short this weekend to Oklahoma. The 1-2. I saw Woody Woodward, former Florida Stater, general manager of the Seattle Mariners, former Yankee shortstop, is here scouting. And then Woody feels that Florida State football on its way back, just not quite there yet.
I believe they're ranked number 5 before the loss to number 1 Oklahoma.
Two coming to Hayward. Gonzalez at first.
Pretty good pitch, pretty good spot. just a little bit low. Ricky Nolasco throwing that backdoor breaking ball. You see pitch number 7 just a little bit out. You are right about Eddie Rapuano being one of the more consistent umpires, one of the more well-liked umpires in the league. Very fair. You can ask him about pitches and he'll tell you.
Velasco misses outside. So what do you do here? Let's see what Freddie Gonzalez does. Diaz was on deck, but he'd rather save Diaz, I'm sure, for a lefty. Brooks Conrad has emerged. Do you let... I mean, here's the cat and mouse game, because you've got enough players on the bench to do this. Do you bring in Dunn to face Conrad, and Freddie probably would counter with Diaz? Or you just let Ricky, who has pitched well tonight, go after this switch hitting Brooks Conrad? As Conrad comes to the plate, looks like Jack is going to stick with Nolasco. 2 outs here in the 7th.
Pitch count's not really a factor. Ricky only at 92 pitches, so got plenty left in the tank.
Conrad, one of the few players who does not use batting gloves.
Don't be scared, dog. Get through it.
Not many of those in the game.
No, they're not. Jorge Posada, one of them.
Strike to Conrad.
See that Mariano Rivera got his 602nd save today to be the all-time leader.
Congratulations to the certain Hall of Famer.
Yeah, when you look at his numbers postseason, what he's done over his career, staggering.
Conrad provided so many big hits last year in a breakthrough year for a guy that's been a long time in the minor leagues, trying to get to the big leagues. Finally did. Versatile guy. Then he had the nightmare in the postseason with the 3 errors in the ballgame against the Giants. Here's the 1-1. It's outside. It's 2-1. Velasco gave up the home run to Ugla to start the inning. Got 2 outs. Gonzalez singled. He walked Hayward. He's 2-1 on Conrad, who has the power to hit it out. Three and 1 now. Ricky trying to get through this inning. You see how economical he was in innings 1 through 5, and then all of a sudden the pitch count the last 2 innings. So this is the 49th pitch in the last 2 innings he's thrown.
You saw early on in those early pitch count innings the precision he had, especially on that last pitch, a little cutter, a little slider. He's been missing pretty badly the last couple innings with those pitches.
3-1. Lost him. Now here comes Bourne. And here comes Jack. Jack's going to bring in a former Brave, Mike Dunn, with the bags loaded and 2 outs in the 7th. A pair of walks have done hit Ricky Nolasco. Braves get both their runs on solo homers. Ricky leaves with them loaded and 2 outs.
When you need a car, truck, or van,
on top of Philadelphia, beating Roy Halladay late in the ball game up in Philly. The Braves down 2 here, and a former Brave comes out of the pen to try to bail Ricky Nolasco out of this 7th inning jam. Michael Bourne is up. A Brave at every base. Both Atlanta runs have come on solo homers. Jason Hayward and Dan Uggla. Single by Alex Gonzalez. Walks to Jason Hayward and Brooks Conrad. Enter Mike Dunn. And he gets a strike on board.
Mike Dunn, one of the key pieces in that Cameron Maben trade to San Diego. I'm sorry, the Dan Uggla trade. Dan Uggla trade. Brought him in the offseason to shore up the bullpen and wanted a power left-handed pitcher, and boy, did they ever get that. You see that first fastball at 95 miles an hour.
Broke his bat. It's trouble. Bourne's fast, and he's going to beat it out. Throw back behind the runner. Safe at third. Boy, you make a great pitch, and the result is an infield hit, and it's 4-3.
Full swing, and the ball went about 45, 50 feet. And like you said, Michael Bourne with the great speed, no chance of getting him at first base. Dunn makes a great pitch, shatters the bat. And that's like a really good 60-degree wedge about 30 yards out.
And so now you got Martin Prado, and Nolasco can barely stand to watch. Dunn does his job, but the result is it's 4-3. And now Webb comes in. Bags are still loaded.
When you need a car, truck or van.
His bat. But the one that broke his bat nestled behind the mound at second base for an infield hit. And Ryan Webb has to come in and get Martin Prado out. And Prado has been a royal pain in the neck against the Marlins this year. Tonight, Prado has doubled in 3 trips. Infield's deep. Webb to the plate. Fastball in. 1-0. Antoine Richardson is pinch running at second base for Conrad. Breaking ball low. 2-0. There's the tying run. Richardson, obviously plenty of speed, and maybe none faster in baseball than Bourne.
53 stolen bases sitting over there at first base. Ryan Webb having a hard time finding the strike zone.
3-0. Box track shows you pitch number 2 on the border, but the first and the third missed. He walked in the tying run on 4 pitches. Wow. And as a reward, he gets to face Chipper Jones with the bags loaded. It's the 3rd walk issued in the inning. And Nolasco has got to be thinking to himself, what do I have to do to beat the Braves? Remember the game in Atlanta? The 0-2 breaking ball that he put in the wrong spot. Gonzalez hit it out. Here tonight, he had 2 outs and just couldn't get through the inning.
It's been the unlucky 7th for Ricky Nolasco in the Atlanta Braves. Last week, 7th inning was his undoing, and tonight, a lot of trouble he ran into in the 7th inning.
Ryan Webb has yet to throw a strike. Chipper Jones sitting on a 1-0. Infante kicks it. Safe at first. Gabby came off the bag, and the Braves have the lead.
Super hits this extremely hard. Little tricky hop at the very end, and it comes up and hits Omar Infante in the heel of the glove and bounces away too far. Good call by the umpire.
E4. Ugla. Webb throws a strike. So the Braves have come all the way back to take the lead. Webb buries a breaking ball. It's 1-1. A bases loaded walk. The sharp ball hit by Chipper kicks off the glove of Infante. The broken bat single by Bourne. The Marlins have played the Braves 6 times here in Miami this year and are 0-6 against them.
Kind of adding to that poor home record this year. They've really had a hard time winning against anybody at this ballpark.
Yeah, that's one of the mysteries of this season for the Marlins for sure. 29-46 at home. 2 over 500 on the road. Of course, the Braves trio of O'Flaherty, Venters, and Kimbrel are heating up. Ugla pops it up as it starts to rain. Bonifacio calls for it and makes the catch. A messy, messy inning for the Marlins. For the Braves, they come back and take the lead 5-4. Toyota trend. The Braves have lost 7 of their last 9 road games, swept in 2 of the last 3 series. But in this ballpark, they haven't lost a game yet. They are 6-0 here. Again, a reminder, the wild card standings, the Braves came in with a 3.5 game lead over St. Louis. St. Louis continues to beat Philadelphia, a 4-1 lead now in the 9th inning, and that was a Roy Halladay start in Philly. And the Cardinals must be staring in disbelief at the out-of-town scoreboard in right field in Philadelphia. You can see the rain is really coming down now as Eric O'Flaherty comes in. Jose Lopez will pinch hit for the Fish. And he chops one towards third. Chipper Jones has it. Fires to first in time. The Braves bullpen, usually a lockdown bullpen, failed to lock it down yesterday against the Mets. But they've been doing it all year long, and anytime you trail against the Braves and you have to get a run against O'Flaherty, Venters, or Kimbrel, it's usually not a pretty thing.
Not a pretty thing at all. And talk about a luxury for Freddie Gonzalez to have these guys coming in at the end of your game. I mean, Kimbrel's been obviously lights out, probably going to win the Rookie of the Year. Let's say 45 games, 124 strikeouts in just 74 innings.
Lucas Duda took him deep yesterday, only the 2nd homer he's given up all season long. And in Kimbrel, Venters walked 3 hitters, including Ronnie Paulino of all people with the bases loaded to tie the game. Bonifacio swings and misses. The count's 1-2. Mojica and Hensley.
O'Flaherty might be the. You talk about Venters stuff and Kimbrel stuff, but O'Flaherty, a 1.04 ERA. 69 innings, only giving up 54 hits.
Look at the ERAs in relief. So who's the most valuable? Is it the 7th inning guy, the 8th inning guy, the 9th inning guy? The 9th inning guy is the headliner. But a lot of managers will tell you that if you don't have a good 7th inning guy or a good 8th inning guy, it doesn't matter who you got in the 9th inning. Bonifacio into center field. That's a base hit. Marlins Golf Classic presented by Jiffy Lube and Mercedes-Benz of Fort Lauderdale, February 16th at the Miccosukee Golf and Country Club. Foursomes and individuals are welcome. It's the 16th of February. Coming up, you can join Marlins players, coaches, and other celebrities for an exciting day of golf, and it's all for the Marlins Community Foundation. 305-623-6497. So Bonifacio's aboard with 1 out, and let's see if he has a feel for O'Flaherty's move to the plate, and if the Marlins want to gamble and put him in motion. Not running on the first 2 pitches, and Fonte's quickly in a hole.
I saw Carlos Tosca and Freddie Gonzalez before the game, and we spoke about these 3 guys, O'Flaherty, Venters, Kimbrel, and they were telling me not only is their stuff exceptional, but they're just, for their ages, they're very young. They have great poise on the mound. They're unaffected by the pressure of these situations they're coming in, and what a joy to have on your staff, young guys that get out there and throw with a lot of guts.
Breaking ball, ground ball into left field, a base hit. Prado up with it. This has been a ball game that saw the Marlins hit 3 tape measure homers. Infante drills it into left field. Mike Stanton, upper deck, left field. Stanton again, blue seats, left center field. Probably about 1,000 feet worth of home run, if you want to add it up. Incredible shots. Logan Morrison then pumped one about 440 feet to right field, a 2-run homer, and the Marlins were cruising and in control until the Braves came roaring back against Ricky Nolasco in the top of this inning. The trio of O'Flaherty, Venters, and Kimbrel, so solid all year long, coughed up a save against the Mets yesterday. Stanton was after a fastball and fouls it off. And here they are back at it. The Braves trying to nail down this one with a 1-run lead in the bottom of the 7th. Rich Waltz along with Jeff Conine in the rain in Miami.
I don't think the grounds crew are too scared by that rain. I didn't see one guy move toward that tarp, so hopefully it was just a passing shower.
Stanton swings and misses. And it's 0-2. Both of Stanton's homers came against Mike Minor, who went the first 5 2/3 innings. Stanton now has 34 home runs on the season. 0-2. Lifts a fly ball towards the line. Hayward is over. Bonifacio tags on his way to third. Hayward's throw is cut, and the Marlins have him at the corners. And now you got a lefty-lefty matchup with O'Flaherty and Morrison. His last at bat was against a lefty. Our Gunther Volkswagen drive of the game. As he has all year long, the Coast Guard salute to his late father, Tom, who passed away in the offseason. Longtime member of the Coast Guard. O'Flaherty against Morrison. Popped foul and out of play. In a season in which the Marlins have been awful at home, they've yet to win against Atlanta in this big football stadium. Just 5 more games left here at Sun Life Stadium. Morrison pops this one up. And Gonzalez is there, makes the catch, and O'Flaherty locks down the 7th. We'll probably see the Braves bring out Venters in the 8th. 5-4 Atlanta. lead in a ball game that the Marlins seemingly had in control, only to see the Braves come back and get to Ricky Nolasco and the bullpen in the 7th.
Eerily similar to last week's game, huh, Rich? 7th inning meltdown.
Without the 3-run homer, but yeah.
All right, 3-2, let's go, let's go.
Hensley to work, and he throws a strike. Do you like Hensley in this role, or do you like him in the starter's role?
Well, I think I like him, what we've seen so far in this role. The way he was brought into the starter's role this year was kind of an emergency situation where they had to have him. They ramped him up in the minor leagues after his injury on the DL, and really needed him to be in that starting rotation. So I think it was kind of unfair numbers for him. If he went into next offseason, or this offseason, going into next season as a starter, I liked him in spring training last year very much. I thought he did an excellent job as a starter. Probably the best starting pitcher we had in spring training. And that's when they put him into the bullpen last year. Did an excellent job as a setup guy. And I think he really settled into that role. So
here's Freeman now. He's 0 for 3. It's funny because if you're around Hensley, you know that he's an adrenaline type guy. And that really serves him well pitching in the 8th inning, which he did so well last year. And it's one of the things he said he really had to fight as a starter, and that is not getting too ramped up or hyped up in his first inning or so.
Yeah, and you get a high energy guy like that only has to pitch 1 inning, he can use that to his advantage. You know, Hensley as a starter at 2-4 with a 6.21 ERA, and out of the bullpen 25 games 3-2 with a 2.91 ERA.
And if you could transplant what's inside of Clay Hensley to a lot of other pitchers, not only in the Marlins but around baseball, you'd have something there, because you see Hensley doesn't have the 95 stuff, but what he does have is the ability to change speeds and the guts to throw any pitch, any time, any place.
And that works to his advantage. That's because a lot of these, very close pitch there, but a lot of these pitches that he throws, he makes good major league hitters look pretty bad on balls out of the strike zone. He's getting a lot of guys to offer at pitches out of the strike zone, which shows to me that he's got really good stuff, just like that right there.
And Freeman, of course, having a good year. He goes after a pitch in the dirt.
Change up. Clay Hensley, one of 4 or 5 pitches he throws well and throws for strikes. Great arm action on that. As a hitter, you're thinking arm speed. It looks like a fastball. About 5 miles an hour slower than his fastball, and it just dives out of the strike zone.
Now Alex Gonzalez. And he takes inside. Gonzalez had a base hit in that ill-fated 7th inning. Nolasco walked a pair after that hit to load him up. Bourne had the broken bat infield single against Dunn to drive in 1 run. Ryan Webb came in and in 4 pitches walked Martin Prado and walked in a run. Went 1-0 on Chipper Jones, who turned on a ball. He had a sharp shot that kicked off of Infante's glove for an error. That, of course, all followed the leadoff homer by Dan Uggla in the 7th against Nolasco. Marlins went into that inning with a 4-1 lead. One. Popped up. Buck is out. Dominguez calls it. And that makes the catch. Nice inning by Clay Hensley. Bottom of the 8th, Johnny Venters coming in, 5-4 Braves.
This three-part monster in the back of the Braves bullpen with Johnny Venters. We just saw Eric O'Flaherty and Craig Kimbrell will be their closer, and these guys all have really, really good stuff. The one thing they don't have is a nickname. You know, you had the Nasty Boys a couple decades ago with the Reds. Well, this group doesn't really have a nickname. One that I read was Cerberus, the three-headed dog from Greek mythology that guards the gates of hell. I don't think that one's going to stick. Not very likely. For now, they're going with Oventrable, if I'm saying that correctly, Oventrable, the combination of the three names, which doesn't work really well either. So they've got good stuff. They've been a heck of a part of this Braves team, but still no nickname yet, so that's still a work in progress. Rich?
Well, you know what? I don't think they need a nickname. I think everybody around the league knows that if you are trailing the Braves and you get to the 7th, you're in trouble. Gabby Sanchez fouls that one off. You know, Venters is 26. He went to Indian River Community College here in this state. He's out of Pikeville, Kentucky. 30th round pick back in '03. O'Flaherty, a guy that didn't quite make it with Seattle, that the Braves took a chance on. Kimbrell was the guy that the Braves really were high on. He was a 3rd round pick in 2008. So it's all kind of been a perfect storm that they've arrived and grown. And remember, they had Billy Wagner to learn from, which you talk to all three of them, and all three will say that Wagner last year taught them all, especially Kimbrell and Venters, an awful lot about the art of pitching in pressure spots.
Yeah, I got to
bouncer up the middle. Ugly backhands in the dirt. Freeman picks it, and Gabby's out.
I got to play with, obviously I faced him a ton of times, Billy Wagner, as a closer with the Houston Astros, and I got to play with him when I was in New York, and you know, you could tell he really relished that role of teaching the young guys in that bullpen how to approach those situations, how to go after hitters late innings, how to close out games, and really wasn't many better than Billy Wagner.
Speaking of closing, Jason Mott is trying to close the door on the Phillies. Buck to right. Hayward runs it down. And St. Louis has a 4-3 lead now over Philadelphia, as the Phillies have scored a couple times in the 9th inning, and Mott is being taken out of the ball game. So the Cardinals are the exact opposite of the Braves in our Chevy wildcard standings. The Cardinals, who had the fewest blown saves in all of baseball last year, have been an absolute mess at the back of their bullpen this year. The Braves have been locked down solid. Venters misses. 1-0.
Brian Peterson's got his work cut out for him. Lefties against Venters this year hitting 120. 9 hits and 75 at-bats.
Counts 2-0. Venters throws a strike. Here's just 2-1 to Peterson. Couldn't hold up, and it's 2-2. And you would expect if the Braves hold this lead, you'll see Kimbrel in the 9th.
Absolutely. You see the movement on that fastball at 93 from Venters. You know, Wes Helms told me it's almost like a right-handed slider. It moves away from a right-handed hitter so much, and he thought he was one of the nastiest pitchers he's ever faced.
Peterson has fouled numerous pitches off a foot here in the last month.
Ouch. That got him good.
You could hear Ed Rapuano say exactly what you said. That got him good.
Oh, right on the instep.
And that foot has been sore, like I said, for a good month, but Peterson has played through it. It's hard. That's a tough place to put a pad or any sort of device on your shoe, especially a speed guy like Peterson.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to cover. I've never seen any apparatus to cover the inside foot. You see the way he rolls over it when he swings, so it just opens up. See him roll over, and it just opens up the side of that foot. That instep, you see a lot of times you'll hit it off the front of your foot, and they've got stuff that will cover that part, but the instep is virtually impossible to protect. That's going to be really sore tonight and tomorrow.
All right, if he continues this at bat, and I don't know if Jack McKeon's made the decision to or not. If he continues the at bat, you can see his eyes are watering. That's a pain that is cutting right through him. If you're Venters, where do you go with this 2-2 pitch?
If I'm a pitcher, I go right back in there again. Right back in there. You know that it's fresh in his mind that he just took an inside sinker off the foot, and I'm going to go as a pitcher. I'm going to go right back in there.
So let's see. Peterson collecting himself. See what Venters gives him. Well, he took it. A 96. It really was a dive bomber, too. Dominguez is on deck. Peterson pops it into center. Bourne lines it up. And the Marlins are done in the 8th. They've seen O'Flaherty. They've seen Venters. Kimbrel is next. 5 for Atlanta. up a home run to Dan Ugla. Mike Dunn made 2 perfect pitches, gave up a broken bat single to Michael Bourne. Ryan Webb came in and walked home the tying run, and then Omar Infante made a rare error to allow the go-ahead run to come across. Hensley's second inning in relief, he pours across a strike to Jason Hayward. And the Marlins, who seemingly, they were in the spot you want to be against the Braves, and that is ahead in the late innings, so you don't have to face O'Flaherty, Venters, and Kimbrel. And just like that, the Braves got the lead, and the Marlins have seen the first 2 of the trio, and they've worked 2 scoreless innings. And there is Kimbrel. Marlins will have 8-9-1 coming up in the 9th. And we're in the top half here. The Cardinals are barely hanging on right now. Octavio Dotel, the 3rd reliever to work. In the bottom of the 9th. 4-3 St. Louis over Philadelphia.
How valuable are these 3 guys going to be in postseason?
Well, that's the question, I think, for the Braves. If they get to the postseason, is can they get to that trio with leads? Because they have starting pitching issues in the absence of Hansen and Jurgens. You've got Hudson and then some question marks.
They don't have they have a great record, but their offense isn't the most potent offense, I would think, going into the postseason. The runs are going to be fairly scarce. So you're right, it's going to be tough getting leads to those 3 guys when you get into a playoff situation.
Eric Hinsky pinch hitting, pops it up. Dominguez over, and he makes the catch. Hinsky trying to get to the postseason for the 5th consecutive year. Last year with the Braves was his 4th consecutive postseason with his 4th different team.
If you're a free agent, you follow Eric Hinsky wherever he goes, because he is the golden child right now as far as going to the postseason.
Michael Bourne now. Hensley's retired all 5 he's faced. Well, the Bourne at bat was a key one in that inning. That 7th inning, Mike Dunn threw a fastball by him and then threw another fastball right on his hands. It broke his bat, but the ball blooped over the mound and landed between the mound and the shortstop, Emilio Bonifacio. And Bourne's speed, there was no way to get him at first.
You just look at the way the Brave swings at the pitches of Clay Hensley. It was just great stuff. A great arm speed on the curveball, making Michael Bourne look pretty silly.
1-2. 88-mile-an-hour fastball is fouled off. It's 1-2.
Wild one in Boston. 11-8 Boston. 5th inning.
And that's Baltimore now trailing 11-8. Baltimore won the first game of that doubleheader, reducing the Red Sox lead in the wild card to a game and a half. Two. Got him. Buck holds it. And now the Marlins will face the probable Rookie of the Year, Braves closer Craig Kimbrel. by Subway. Eat fresh. By all appearances, the Marlins had the Braves down and a great chance to beat them for the first time all year in this ballpark. To beat them 4 runs in the 7th, and now the Marlins have to face the wrath of Craig Kimbrell. They saw O'Flaherty, a scoreless 7th. They saw Venters, a scoreless 8th. And here is Kimbrell.
Opponents hitting just 169. Look at the crazy strikeouts per innings pitched. 74 innings pitched, 124 strikeouts.
Yesterday, however, as Greg Dobbs pinch hitting hits a high fly ball towards the line, Prado's long run, and he just runs out of room and then lands on the target. Didn't get a lot of help from his bullpen.
No, they're watching the whole thing, aren't they? Nice little. Oh, look, our teammate's going over the wall. We'll go help him up now.
Almost looked like Prado let him know about it as he got back up to his feet. Dobbs pinch hitting. John Baker is on deck. Then you've got Bonifacio. Dobbs sends another one over there, but this one is well out of reach. Here's Prado getting up. You can see Kimbrell ready to pounce on the mound. In that Braves bullpen meltdown yesterday, in which Venters in the 8th walked 3, including a bases loaded walk to Ronnie Paulino. Lucas Duda hit only the 2nd homer of the year against Kimbrell. And the Mets would beat the Braves. 0-2. Breaking ball. Dobbs lays off of it. What a terrific year for Greg Dobbs. Made the club with a torrid spring as a lefty bat off the bench. Ended up playing a lot more than anyone expected and playing very well.
Extremely well. Was hitting over 300 for most of the season. Just dropped off a little bit here at the end, but still continues to come up with big hits.
Just trying to get on base right now. It's 2-2. There's Baker. Dobbs hits a fly ball to left. Plenty of room out there for Prado, who makes the catch. So Kimbrell has 1 out. Inside the Marlins, the new ballpark. It debuts after Marlins Live. The Braves can reduce their magic number down to 6 if they win this game. The Cardinals have won tonight. It's a 4-3 final in Philadelphia. Baker up, Bonifacio to follow.
Like you said earlier, with the Cardinals having a lead there in Philadelphia, I'm sure they were scoreboard watching, seeing that the Marlins had a 4-2 lead here and feeling pretty good, or 4-1 lead here and feeling pretty good about their chances of gaining ground in the wild card standings.
Baker takes away. It's 1-0. Baker has yet to get a start, so all of his at-bats have been in a pinch-hitting role. Kimbrell bends one in there for a strike.
Big kind of reinventing his body down in the minor leagues. You could see he shed a lot of weight, much more efficient. Really concentrated on his diet and workout program to get back up here.
That happens to a lot of players when they rehab from an injury, a Tommy John injury. We saw Josh Johnson go through that. Changed his body type. Baker on a hop. Gonzalez. And Kimbrel has 2 outs. So here's Bonifacio. Kimbrel's outs. Neither have been strikeouts, which is a bit odd. He's averaging, in terms of strikeouts, 43% of his outs strikeouts, and that leads all major league relievers. "45 saves on the season." "0-1.
And like we've said a number of times, a virtual lock for Rookie of the Year. Freddie Freeman, his teammate, have an outstanding year, a good candidate as well. But what this guy's done, he might, he can possibly win the Roll-Edge Relief Man.
Leads the National League in saves. 0-2 coming. Bonifacio, a high chopper. Chipper lost it in the lights, and it rolls down the line. Bonifacio has got himself a base hit. The lights in this football stadium have been a nightmare for left fielders and at times third basemen.
You see him try and concentrate, see if he can get that ball out of the lights before it comes down. It was just it was in there too long.
They're going to give him an error.
Wow.
It's not often that you get an error for losing the ball in the lights or the sun. Now they've changed it. So it is a hit. How long do you take if you're Jack McKeon before Bonifacio's running?
I don't take long at all. I send him right away.
1-0 to Infante.
Generally, closers that throw as hard as Kimbrel does, they don't. They're not particularly fast to home plate. So I think Bonnie can get a good jump and probably steal it fairly easily.
Kimbrel ready, not running. Infante, left field, get out of here! Ball game! Walk off, and the Marlins beat Kimbrel. They beat the Braves for the first time this year in Miami.
Wow, what a finish.
The Braves lead in the wild card has melted to 2.5 games. Omar Infante beats his old ball club. The Marlins come back to beat Atlanta. What a finish. A soft ground ball that Chipper Jones lost in the lights keeps the inning going, and Omar Infante ends the game. His first career walk-off homer, a blue cedar. And on a night where the Cardinals beat Roy Halladay, the Braves and their great young bullpen cough up their second straight lead. They did it yesterday at home against the Mets, and they do it tonight here in Miami. A walk-off piece and a thing of beauty for the Fish.
Your first career walk-off home run, how did that on field.
¿Cómo se siente eso, tu primer walk-off home run en tu carrera?
Bueno, muy contento, verdad que el primero en mi carrera, verdad que nunca había dado un home run. Y bueno, de esa manera, ya que el error que cometí fue muy valioso y de verdad que me sentía muy mal porque el equipo estaba perdiendo y bueno, gracias a Dios pude ayudar al equipo.
You know what, he's very happy, you know, that it was his first one, but above all, he says that he made that error late in the game and he just wanted to make up for, you know, trying to help the team win. So he's very excited about just that he came back and actually got a big hit for the team.
And you get it off of Craig Kimbrell, who's given up just 2 home runs. And a shaving cream all around here. Joe gets it too. The shaving cream pie is much deserved for Omar. We'll let him get cleaned up and see if we can get a few more questions here with him.
Hey, Allison, ask Joe how you say shaving cream pie in Espanol.
Yeah, how do you say shaving cream pie in Spanish?
I don't know. Crema de afeitarse.
Is that your first pie?
That's my first pie. I didn't do anything to deserve that.
Wrong place at the wrong time. But Omar, I just wanted to ask you, to get that home run off of Kimbrell, who's only given up 2 all year, how did you do it? What did you see?
Que cómo se siente de dar ese honrón, especialmente contra Kimbrell, que nada más le han dado 2 en todo el año. ¿Cómo se siente especialmente?
No, en verdad que no lo puedo creer, ya que bueno, él ha pichado muy bien, un pitcher que tiene una recta muy dura, 96, 97 millas. De verdad que es difícil conectar un batazo así y bueno, gracias a Dios lo pude conectar. Pues.
Yeah, he says it was very special, especially for a good closer like that mid-90s. So he's just happy that he was part of that and trying to do something there to help the team win.
All right, I'll let you guys both get cleaned up there. The eyes turning a little red. Thank you so much. Gracias. Rich, back to you guys.
All right, Allison, it was a wild scene at home plate. Can you imagine what the clubhouse was like in Philadelphia with the St. Louis Cardinals after they just left the field, after they beat the Philadelphia Phillies and Roy Halladay? The Cardinals are now 2.5 back in the wild card behind the Braves.